The truth is, starting over is not the easiest thing to do. Yet it's something we all have to do from time to time when chasing after something in life. You see, people look at starting over differently. There are those who says, you know what, I'm excited. This is a new opportunity, a clean slate for me, a fresh start. While others are thinking, I can't believe I spent all this time and energy just to end up back at square one. Regardless of how you look at starting over, the truth is Winston Churchill says, success is not final, failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to keep going that counts. You need courage to keep going if you ever have to start over, because you need courage to fight the urge to quit. You have to fight for all your dreams and your goals. You see, Frederick Douglass said, you may not get everything you fight for, but for everything you do get, it will be a fight. In the midst of this pandemic, when this is all over, some of us may have to start over in some point in our lives. And I'm here to encourage you and just share, there is 3 benefits to starting over. I want to encourage you, don't give up. You have too much to accomplish. Keep going.
Gotta live my life. I ain't living in fear no more, no more. Ooh, gotta live my life. I ain't living in fear no more, no more, no more. You're not gonna rob me no more. Now watching life go by. I've been held down for too long. It's time to fight my life. I ain't living in fear no more, no more, no more, no more.
Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Fakir, and I want to welcome you to another Timeout. The purpose for Timeout is to give you content that's going to provide encouragement, enrichment, and empowerment so that you can be relentless in your pursuit to your dreams and your goals. We know that life comes with the unexpected twists and turns and the setbacks, and it could be discouraging at times, but with our Timeouts together, I'm going to ensure that I can help you to be relentless in your pursuit to your dreams and your goals, because we know that giving up is not an option. And so I want you to be great, to walk in your purpose, and to fulfill your dreams. And that's our purpose for our weekly Timeouts together. So with that said, the title for today's Timeout is that there are benefits to starting over. We know that starting over can be frustrating in life, especially when you feel like you've accomplished so much. In fact, I felt so bad. This past Friday, I stepped out of the house for a little bit and I was on my way home, and my wife called me and she was like, Josh. And I'm like, yes. And I mean, I knew that there was some sort of news she had to give me. And she just kept saying, Josh. I'm like, all right, you tell me what's going on. She said, I lost everything. I said, okay, you need to slow down now, because if you lost everything, that means I lost everything too. So slow down and tell me what's going on. And she's like, I lost everything. I was working on this project. And truthfully, what she was working on was this website we're building, and she was working on it, and I knew she was working on it for a couple of hours that day since I left the house. And now I'm on my way back, and she said I was working on this project, and in the website, unfortunately, there's the return to menu. If you want to exit out of a section you were building within the website, there's a return to menu button, and that return to menu button is right next to the back button. And unfortunately, both of them are arrows pointing backwards. I don't know, backwards, this way for you. But both arrows are pointing backwards. And instead of hitting the return to menu, she hit the back button. And once you hit the back button, you lose everything you did that you created in that one section of the website. And so she said, I'm hitting refresh. I'm trying to hit forward. It's saying this page is not available. She lost hours worth of work. And I felt so bad. She sounded so devastated on the phone. And I did my best to encourage her. And she was excited because she knew I was on my way home. And she wanted to show me everything she worked on. And now she felt like she got nothing to show for everything she was doing for the past couple of hours. And so I'm encouraging her, and I'm trying to encourage her, and I'm saying, things happen sometimes, and I know it hurts, and I know you're down. But one thing is that you have experience right now. You may not have completed what you were trying to complete, but you did walk away with the experience. And I did a video on that, and I want you to go check it out. It's called It's in the Experience. Things that you tried to go after, that you think you walked away empty-handed, you actually walked away with experience. And so she went in, and I said, you know what? Just take a break, maybe sleep on it. It's late at night. Tomorrow, let's take another crack at it, and I'll be there to help you. Would you believe that in a few minutes it took me to get from where I was home. I got off the exit and I'm getting home. By the time I got inside, she had half of the website rebuilt in that short couple of moments. And I'm looking at it and she's like, yeah, I had much more than this, but what she showed me was phenomenal. It already blew my mind. And I said, wow, you see, you've become an expert now. You're working and you, this is not unfamiliar territory. Not only do you know what to do, you also know what not to do now. You see, sometimes we don't want to start over, but starting over, there are some benefits to it. There's some things you learn along the way that now you know how to be successful in what you're doing, and you know how not to be successful at it. And trust me, her mouse didn't go nowhere near that back button again. But I want to share with you 3 things, because 3 benefits to starting over. We are in the middle of a pandemic right now, and unfortunately, there's some things that we may have to start over. There's some momentum that we lost from the beginning of the year, and we feel like we got to rebuild that momentum. And it could be frustrating because this pandemic was not on anyone's calendar for 2020. It was not on anyone's business plan, but it happened. There are things that happens that's not in your control, but your success is not in the things you can't control. Your success is in the consistency in the things that you can control. And so the first benefit that I want to share with you today to starting over is that you can have a fresh perspective. Starting over, especially if you have to start over in an area where you were operating in for a long time, sometimes we can become robotic. Sometimes we can forget the purpose. We're so used to doing the what that we forget about the why. And when you have to start over, sometimes you got to start over from scratch and revisit the why. Am I still passionate about this? Is this still something that I want to do in life? You know, there's successful people right now that had to start over in their lives at some point or the other. I was reading, and there's some successful people that are truly gifted at what we see them do. But what they're doing today is not what they started out doing in the past. They had to start over, and they realized that this thing they were doing is not really what they were called to do. And it was through starting over that they stumbled into their destiny. You see, sometimes when starting over is good. I heard one successful businessman say every year he starts over on purpose, just to make sure he is still passionate about what he's doing. So starting over gives you a fresh perspective, new ideas. You get to revisit your why to see, is this something that I still want to do? Because if it is, guess what? You got the blueprint already. Guess what? You know what to do. Which brings me to number 2. Your second benefit to starting over. The second benefit to starting over is now you're fine-tuning. You know what worked and you know what didn't work. You know what skills that you already brought to the table the second go round or third go round, and you know what new skills you need to acquire. You see, another benefit is that you're fine-tuning, and now you're going at it again, but you have the experience, you have the skills, and now you have a blueprint. And that reminds me of what step number 3 is. The third benefit to starting over. First benefit is that you get a fresh perspective. You get to revisit your why, which sometimes reignite that flame inside that you probably lost the last go round. And the second benefit was that you get to fine-tune your skills. You have a blueprint now. And the third benefit is now you can become an expert. You see, I was talking to Sue Ann, and she started navigating through the website after I got home. And she was like, so this is what you got to do to go do this. She was brand new to this website when I left the house. When I got back, she was an expert, even in the midst of her having to start over. You become an expert. You know both sides of the fence. You know what worked and what didn't work. And you know what that means? It means your test has become a testimony. You see, successful people, what they do after they reach a certain height in their careers, they start writing books. They started writing memoirs because they know what they learned along the way. And our job is to make sure that we're shortening the learning curve of the people who's coming behind us in whatever field you've been called to. Your job is to become an expert. Your job is to obtain the knowledge and the skills, also learning from the mistakes of the people who came before you, and you take everything you learn, you apply it, and when you reach your goal, you're making sure that the person behind you, you're passing along that information. You see, we come together and we make it together, and I know that starting over is not the easiest thing to do, but it's something we need to consider. In the midst of this pandemic, we have to stop and think, what is working? What do I need to start over? In some areas, you're picking up where you left off, but the momentum, you have to start over. I don't want you to give up on your dreams and your goals. You know, success is not final. Failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to keep going that counts. If you find that even in the midst of this pandemic or anything you're going through in life, where it that results in you having to start over, just have the courage to keep going, because you're going to need that courage to resist the urge to quit. You got to fight the urge to quit. Yes, it may not have worked this time, but you got the experience, and now you're an expert. Now you have a fresh perspective, and now you can fine-tune your skills because you know what it takes. Don't give up. You know, Frederick Douglass say, you may not get everything you fight for, but for everything you do get, it will be a fight. T.D. Jakes say, your miracle is not what in the things that you lost. Your miracle is in the things you have left. I don't know where you are in your journey, in the things you wanted to accomplish in 2020, but if you feel like you have to start over, I'm here to tell you, just start over. There's benefits to starting over. Whatever you do, don't give up, because you have too much to accomplish. You have too many lives to change. You are carrying a purpose. You are carrying a gift. There's something you have to do in this life, and you can't give up on it. Keep pushing, even if you have to start over. Come back with a vengeance, and I'll be with you next week in our timeout. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon.